attempt to do the thing. This might be a failed attempt to do the thing. Why do I hear an echo? Oh my gosh. There's some business going on. Yeah. There's some business going on. I hear an echo and I would like to stop it because, wow, that's annoying. Oh, I know why it is. Is it because I hear this? Yes. I think it's because I hear this. That's one of the reasons. Hi! If this is, visible. Hi, Robyn, how are you? I have the wrong scene. This is the scene I want to be showing. Hi, this is the scene of me actually here. I have the other, okay, the reason, hi, hello, I'm the Amelia one, my pronouns are she, they. This is FSP Live, Fridays at 4 through the end of March, which this is the end of March. So I don't think this will be the last live. I think we'll do more. I don't know what the schedule's going to be, but I enjoy doing the thing, and it is helpful for me to have a regular thing where I'm going to be a person in the world. So this is probably not the last FSP Live. Yeah. I'm waiting for confirmation from Robyn. An hour early. Fridays at 4 is normal, right? Or do I do Fridays at 5? I think Fridays at 4 is my usual situation. No? I'm opening my calendar. Nope, FS 4 p.m. Fridays at 4. Yeah, Fridays at 4. That's the standard thing. Although Fridays at 5 also works alliteratively, and I'm going to be honest that the alliteration is part of the reason that I chose this time. So if like Wednesdays at 1 or Tuesdays at 2 or Mondays at midnight, Thursdays at 3, if one of those is better than Fridays at 4, let me know. Still in the final stages of recovery from COVID because, man, that virus is nasty. I'm looking down now because I'm going to change scenes because I want to answer a question that I tried to answer, I think, 2 or 3 weeks ago. Someone asked, is there a way to find out like which companies have financial alignment with things that align with my values? And I didn't really have an answer except to say, like, I know certified B Corps are reliable, but I have in fact discovered a new thing, and that is the thing that I started on here, which is this website, The Blue Handbook on How to Fight Back with Your Dollars, which, gives away from the beginning what its, political alignment is, blue. It's goodsuniteus.com, goodsuniteus.com, and so we can search for a company like Target, and it will load up, donation distribution and campaign finance reform, which is to say, what are the odds that your purchase will result in some kind of meaningful change in campaign finance? Which, I guess is like the higher it is, the better. I don't know if it's like it is on a scale of -100 to +100. So, kind of low, but hey, not negative. How much they contribute, very high. And whether it's the company itself or senior employees. And then this is the part that I have found most helpful, which is alternative brands. So like if you needed to buy shoes instead of buying them at, Target is what we're talking about. You can get them at Keen. Want to look at Keen? Let's go find out. Perfect score. Campaign finance reform 100. Combined contribution minimal. Ooh, look, Aldi, also good. I'm gonna look up LL Bean because I have some clothes from LL Bean. No, are you not gonna load? Enter. Search. Okay, we'll go from the home page. LL Bean. Okay, I don't know why that's not working. How about Land's End? They're comparable to, maybe I guess L-bean are not in the thing. Oh, so other things that are similar. I'll look for another one. So this is, Eileen Fisher is in there. Eileen Fisher, I own a lot of Eileen Fisher clothes because they have cracked the code on how to dress middle-aged ladies. If you're someone in a feminine body who experiences hot flashes, Eileen Fisher has environmentally less damaging products that are accessible secondhand in a lot of places. And I own a lot of secondhand Eileen Fisher because linen, man. Linen and wool, and they also make a lot of cotton, and cotton's not it if you got hot flashes, but you know. Okay, so that was an answer to a question someone asked that I did not have last time I checked, and so there's a thing. Now I'm going to look at the chat and make sure nothing is wrong. Okay, good. Oh, Christine K., if you're not in the U.S., this is the time of year when people's countries' clocks change at different weeks. So my clocks changed, I think, 2 weeks ago or last week. I don't even remember. But yeah, this is a complicated and confusing time of year because of the clocks changing. And friggin' Congress, I think, brought up legislation last year, 2 years ago, to end this change between daylight savings and non-daylight savings time, and it did not make it to vote, which astonishes me because isn't everybody in favor of ending that? Anyway. Yeah. Oh, Christine, if you're in Europe, buying stuff that's made in that's made locally. I mean, if it's not going to be shipped from overseas, that's going to save some, carbon footprint, but also European and North American countries do have like stricter labor laws that requires that. I wanted to say that it requires employees be paid a living wage, but let's be honest, that's not true. In the U.S., it is legal. The federal minimum wage is $7.25 an hour, and I think you'd have to work continuously 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, in order to make an actual living wage at that rate. And of course, that's not physically possible. I think it's a myth. Christine says nobody likes daylight savings except for farmers. I believe that it's a myth that daylight savings was invented for farmers. Because animals don't like time changes. They want to stay on the same schedule all the time. Ask any pet owner. But also, like, livestock are not. They want their care schedule to happen. Maybe it's about. Nope. I think it's a myth that daylight savings was invented for farmers. Okay, so that was one question that I wanted to be able to answer better than I have answered in the past. And I also want to talk about food. We got a couple of questions from our food episode that I definitely want to talk about. Here, I'll read how this one starts. From Christine with a CH. Follow-up for podcast about food and listening to your body. Do you have any advice for autistic folks who don't hear their body signals? Like me. I eat at regular time at work only because lunch break is the same time every day. And when I'm at home, sometimes I eat lunch at 5 p.m. So we are going to talk specifically in a future episode much more about food in detail. One important thing to think about is how rigidity plays into autistic eating. There's a stereotype about autistic people only liking beige food, chicken nuggets and mashed potatoes. That is based in reality, based on like sensory sensitivities. Intense flavors, weird textures are way less appealing to someone who is hyper aware of the physical sensation of having food in their mouth. There's also rigidity of schedule. A lot of autistic people really want to have the same schedule every day and thrive when their time is structured in a predictable way. I thrive when I follow rules for food and when I don't have to listen to like everybody's bodily signal to tell me what to do. So when you've met one autistic person, you've met one autistic person. So whatever your, sorry, it's going to be a matter of listening to your body. That's so vague and unhelpful. But unfortunately, your autism that you have is going to be different from the autism that anyone else has. So finding what works for you is going to be a matter of experimentation and listening to your body. When you just forget to eat, that's not great because your body, I mean, in general, at a population level, studies show that eating on a regular schedule, predictable schedule every day is the most useful for human bodies. But not every human body for sure. And some human bodies more than others. It just depends on who you are. So maybe setting a schedule, like if you make sure that you eat at work, like if you are good at making a schedule, then do that at home. Hold on, we got another related question that I will also read. Someone who said, I did not know it was super rare to get immediate feedback, like Emily, who gets immediate feedback. Hey, Emily, there's another person about who gets immediate feedback. But I didn't know the thing where my body sends a distorted go get a protein through brain fog, and I pulled out an Aldi chicken schnitzel patty from the freezer, cook it to perfection, enjoy lunch, and voila, my mind is as sharp as a tack for a few hours. Yeah. Sometimes you just figure that out because you tried a thing and go, oh, that's why that happened. I'm getting a drink. I'm drinking wine today because it's been a rough week and I haven't had wine in a couple of weeks. And this is watered down. I'm not drinking 8 ounces of wine. This is mostly ginger tea mixed with my wine. Okay. Ginger and red wine is such a good combination. Anyway. Okay. I can tell that while you're autistic, you're definitely not ADHD-ers. We are not. We have both. Part of our autism evaluation included ruling out other conditions like ADHD. For both of us, ADHD was ruled out, although multiple immediate family members were diagnosed with ADHD. So we absolutely know the difference between our experience of that stuff versus theirs. It seemed like you're implying that it's possible to shop ahead, even on a timescale as short as a week or a day, and make those plans come true? Yeah, it is possible. But what you described next about, like, you buy the berries in the morning, and by the time you actually get to the part where you have to wash them and make a meal out of them, it's like, ugh, not even. And then you put them in the fridge and you like forget they're there. And the next time you notice them, they are growing mold. Yeah, that's the thing that happens. And it's definitely more likely to happen if you have attention deficit. Oh, and you also mentioned something we did not say, which is listening to outside instructions about food, considering interactions between food and drugs, including alcohol. Yeah, that is true. Like, that is true. Our focus is on sort of dietary choices that are related to people's, what do I have for lunch today? And for most of us, it's not a matter of what can I eat today that won't interfere with the medication that I take. But that is definitely a rule that you need to keep in mind. Like, is this going to interact with this food that I eat? Looking at the chat, Robyn says, as an animal, I want a consistent schedule. Same. Trina says, depending on where you are in the US, you might prefer standard time. I would much prefer standard time. I also live way, way, way on the East Coast. I live on Cape Cod, which is one of the first places where the sun rises and the first places where the sun sets. And for multiple weeks, almost months in the winter, the sun is gone by 4 p.m. And that's too early. That's too early. Christine K says, I'm ADHD, so I stick to some routines like breakfast, but not others like lunch. Body tells me very little useful information. Yeah. What I have learned is that my body will give me the information, but I have to make the choice to sit for a minute and pay attention to physical sensations, or really meditate to connect with my subconscious to figure out, hey body, was that what we needed? Was that helpful? Is that okay? Or in the big picture, long term, I do dream analysis and dream journal reflection type things. Dream interpretation I have found very helpful for coming to understand what my body needs. My body talks to me in my dreams in a very explicit way that I find very helpful. But I mean, it's a project to find the information. Your body might have more information than you're recognizing, but it takes some effort to find it out. You do the ginger and wine too. Yeah, ginger and wine. It's, I love spiced wine. Oh my God, I have chocolate on my chin. I made brownies and I licked the bowl and I think I got chocolate on my chin. That's embarrassing. What are you going to do? Christine, wait, I do have histamine issues. Red wine has a lot of histamine, but look, there are priorities in the world. And I have, for the times when I'm I also made brownies. They are also super high in histamine because they're full. They have egg whites in them. They have chocolate in them. Super high histamine. You do ginger and wine for Emily. I think she mostly drinks white wine though. But I'm drinking red wine because that's what I have. Because I usually drink white wine, but because I haven't been drinking wine for the past 2 months, I just don't have any. But my husband drinks red wine, so if I water it down and I put ginger in it, it feels relaxing to drink, and that's enough for me. Regardless, I have histamine issues, but it's very difficult to avoid consuming histamines. It's very inconvenient, and we're going to talk about rigidity and the kind of rules people follow for health reasons and social reasons, but the many rules that I do follow to restrict my eating are always flexible. And in the moment when I'm it's Friday afternoon, it has been this week has been rough, and I'm gonna have a glass of wine right now. And I have a pill I can take called DAO, which is an enzyme that your body produces naturally, that breaks down histamines. So it's as lactase is for lactose, DAO is for histamines. It's a pill you take that reduces the amount that goes from your digestive system into your bloodstream. It does not change the amount of histamine your body produces in reaction to a food. So if you're eating, this is so complicated, and I am not an expert in any of this. This is just what I have discovered works for me. That this DAO enzyme supplement pill is helpful in reducing the impact that, a high histamine food has on my immediate, the immediate aftermath of eating a thing. There are priorities. Yes, take a Benadryl so you can eat the French fries. Yeah. So what Benadryl does is it reduces the histamines that your body produces. So some foods contain histamine and DAO helps with that. Some foods cause your body to produce its own histamine and Benadryl helps with that. It's, you can just get the enzyme DAO. I mean, I'm not a medical professional. I'm just telling you the things that I do. I am doing them under medical care, but the things that work for me may not work for you. For legal reasons, check with a medical professional before you do anything that I mention that is about supplements or pills. I'm only telling you what I do. Okay, there was another question about food that I thought was a really good one that we did not remotely take into account, which I think came from the same person. Yeah. So they say, your framing was that the listener is responsible for themselves, which is really appreciated when so much advice either assumes that the listener is responsible for other humans, spouses, children, or that there are other people in the household, spouses, children, roommates, who can help take care of you. Most of the last 10 years, I've been fine about reinterpreting discussions and figuring out how to apply them to me living alone, but started getting real touchy about I live alone during my first 14 months of pandemic. And anyway, the whole pandemic trauma is a separate story. So thank you for making it seem like a listener could be alone. Yay! I'm glad, because neither of us lives alone. We both live with a spouse, and our spouses have different medical dietary needs and also different preferential dietary needs. I feel like it would be so much easier if I lived alone. And also, I am so grateful that I don't have to cook for very many other people except a couple of times a year. I make Thanksgiving dinner pretty much every year. If like these days the kids are all grown, so like it's maybe Christmas, maybe Thanksgiving, whenever. And like one of the kids is a vegetarian and another one has a bunch of dietary allergies. So I make sure and like let them know this has meat in it. Here's the vegetarian version, or like, here's all the vegetables you can eat. This one has chestnuts in it, so stay away. I don't ever assume that I need to make every dish accessible to every person. So like, just because I have a vegetarian kid doesn't mean that we're not having turkey. It means that that kid doesn't eat the turkey. And I have taught her how to make vegetarian gravy. So like now it's her job to make the vegetarian gravy. So it is, for all that you are glad, yay, I'm glad that we made it seem like you live alone and you can just make these decisions for yourself. And that is normal. I feel like maybe we neglected the complexities. It's a thing we're going to have to talk about. Food is so complicated. And I do think that we're going to have to talk about the complexities and the challenges of cooking for other people. Because 2/3 of people do live in multi-person households. That is more common. And it does add complexity to the choices you make in terms of shopping and cooking and eating. Checking back in with the chat. Do. Okay. Good. Nothing's going wrong. That is excellent. Reading the questions. Checking to see if I miss. Okay. Our next episode coming up is going to be the art and science of Disney adulting. And I want to, for anybody who's here now or sees this before that episode comes out, that episode is not an ad. We are not advocating for Disney park attendance. This is not, we're not encouraging anybody to do anything. The purpose of that episode is to break down the ways that Disney has figured out to a science how to engage the kind of ventral connected polyvagal state and the combined polyvagal state of sympathetic and ventral, which is the play state. They nail it and do it very consciously. And we talk about how they do that, how they achieve that, which is useful because you can then kind of take the things that they learned, and you can apply them to your own systems and environment. And if you choose, you can go explore that for yourself. It's open to the public for a very large fee, unfortunately. But we are definitely not saying that like Disney's the only way to do that. They're just a real good example, and they can demonstrate for all of us ways that, we might be able to access that if we choose to. Robyn, are you laughing at the Disney thing and my disclaimer? Christine's going to Disney in May. Every day I spend a little bit of time on the My Disney Experience app preparing for our upcoming trip in April. Yeah. Every day. I don't talk about this in the video, but one of the things they've figured out is that, don't you know, silly man, half the fun is to plan the plan, in the words of Stephen Sondheim and Mrs. Lovett. Half the fun is the planning of the thing for certain types of people, for certain types of autistic people who are obsessed with planning and preparing. I spend a little time every day for weeks in advance of a Disney trip planning. And we don't talk about that because that's not what Disney does, but they do give you the app, and they have increased the amount of planning you can do in the app. Like now you can sign up for the Fast Pass situation like a week in advance. You can schedule your lightning lanes. That they know that people enjoy planning. It has taken me a lot of time to figure out how much planning is realistic, especially because of my disabilities. Sometimes I'm surprised, like I can't do anything for the next several hours. I don't get to go to my lightning lanes that I thought I could plan because I'm not gonna be able to get out of bed for at least 2 more hours. That's rough. But the planning is, it's half the fun is to plan the plan. Not everybody feels that way, but I sure do. Robyn, when Emily and I were in London, we talked about the ethics around doing Harry Potter related shit and how to square that circle. Yeah. No good answers, because obviously we live in hell. And if this week has taught us nothing, it is that profound truth. I spent a couple of hours looking into ways that bystanders can intervene in ICE actions and arrests and activities. I don't live in a city or near a real city, so my access or the likelihood that I will be called upon to act around when someone gets kidnapped by ICE is unlikely, but I want to make sure that I know what I have the right to do and what would be helpful to do in that circumstance. And the number of innocent people who are here legally who are being abducted by ice is so hard. And hence it's been a hard week, and hence you know what I want to talk about on the podcast when we record this week, Emily? Disney World. The most magical place on earth. Definitely a lightweight episode just for, I mean, it's science packed, but like the reason is planning for fun things the reverse process of spiraling about things you're stressed about in your body. I mean, yes, Robyn, that's what it is. I can't control ice, or I can't control so many terrible things, but I can control this. It's in our chapter 4 of Burnout, the patriarchy or the rigged game. One of the things you can do is do a thing, and a thing is anything that's not nothing, because when your body accomplishes a task, it feels like it has the capacity to move you from danger to safety. It feels like it has the power to move you out of helplessness. It gives you the sensation of agency. Robyn, hell yeah, I read Burnout. Yeah, I know. But I am saying, like, yeah, you totally nailed that, because I'm doing a thing. I'm pretending agency, because my body thinks if I make an exact schedule so that I know what I'm going to do when I arrive on the plane, where I'm going to go, what I'm going to do, what I'm going to wear, what separate bags I will pack in, so that, like, for medical reasons, I have to wear, like, prescription strength compression garments when I fly, and those are not comfortable to keep wearing off the plane. So, like, I need to make a plan. Like, am I going to change at the airport before I get into a ride to the thing? Or can I get a ride and, like, should I wear clothes where I can just, like, get those compression garments off in the car or on the bus or whatever I'm taking? And then when I get to the park, like, what am I going to eat? Where am I going to go first thing? And, like, there's a flower and garden festival happening. And what do I want to try at the flower and garden festival? And what's a way I can eat all that stuff over the course of multiple days such that it fulfills the needs for, you know, different meals, and also doesn't make me go whoop, 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 whoop across the whole I got distracted by Emily's comment. Across the whole park, like, what can I eat, like, in what order? So, for example, if we come in the International Gateway, I'm going to go to France, and then America, and then Germany, and those are the things I'm going to eat for dinner that night, and then I can just halfway back around and go back to out the International Gateway to the, that's... Don't you know, silly man, half the fun is to plan the plan. Steven Sondheim knows me. Emily says, our Thelma and Louise chip is not just about COVID exposure. It's about me being disappeared as soon as I get off the plane because sex education is a felony. Like, I don't think we're there yet. I think they are going after immigrants for now, but that can't last forever. At least those stories aren't in the news yet. I think if you got disappeared off a plane, it would make the news. You know, New York Times bestselling sex and wellness author Emily Nagoski, blah, blah, thing. And, you know, Robyn has volunteered to be a decoy so you can sneak off. I can also be a decoy. You can be like, if they say Emily Nagoski, I'm going to turn my head as if I'm you. They're not going to know for sure which one of us is which. Do you think they'll take us both just to be safe? I think we could probably make enough of a stink in public to, I don't know. I think my presence might be somewhat of a buffer for you getting disappeared with a black bag over your head. I might end up with a black bag over my head. Anyway, I did not mean to talk about this for so long. I just wanted to say before the Disney episode comes out, the Disney adulting episode, that it is in no way an encouragement for anybody to participate in that activity. It's just deconstructing and analyzing how Disney achieves what they achieve and why they have made a park that is so popular. And that what we learned from that can be a thing you apply to your regular everyday environment. Okay. Almost half my wine is gone, which means I should stop being in public now and go lay on a couch and stare at a TV for a little while. And that's what I'm gonna do next. So probably not the next FSP Live. I will make announcements in episodes about what the plan is to do next. And until then, I will hear in the podcast. I'll be there, and then I'll see you whenever the next thing is. It has been lovely being a person in the world with you, and if I don't get to say this again for a little while, please remember that the takeaway of burnout and all our episodes of the Feminist Survival Project are that the cure for burnout is not self-care. It's all of us caring for each other. So that can be here in the chat with each other, or me providing updates and information like goodsuniteus.com that, is we can find out where we can buy things that we need from a place where our money is not going to support causes that violate our values. Or just listening to the podcast and realizing that, oh, we're not alone. We're all going through this together. We do it to help each other and you. So in the meantime, that's the thing to carry away, and I'll see you all whenever